Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. I'm Udar Pratap Singh. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has raised concerns over digital arrest fraud while addressing the nation in the 115th episode of the Mann Ki Baat. He played an audio-video clip to show how hundreds and thousands of individuals fall prey to this modern-day fraudulence on a daily basis. Let me put that into perspective. In the year 2017, a total of 3,466 cases of cybercrime were registered. 5 years later, in 2022, the annual number of cases that were reported jumped to 17,470. Well, the horror doesn't end there. A total last year of 11 lakh 28,265 cases has been reported. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a 6,358% increase in just 1 year. So what exactly is a digital arrest? How can one identify these fraudsters, and what kind of intelligence is required to crack down on this scam is the big question. Well, let's quickly listen into this excerpt from Prime Minister Modi's Mann Ki Baat एपिसोड।
मैं आपको बताता हूं ये फ्रॉड करने वाली गैंग काम कैसे करती है, ये खतरनाक खेल क्या है, आपको भी समझना बहुत जरूरी है, औरों को भी समझाना उतना ही आवश्यक है। पहला दाव आपकी व्यक्तिगत जानकारी, वो सब जुटा करके रखते हैं। आप पिछले महीने गोवा गए थे, है ना? आपकी बेटी दिल्ली में पढ़ती है ना? वे आपके बारे में इतनी जानकारी जुटा कर रखते हैं कि आप दंग रह जाएंगे। दूसरा दाव, भय का माहौल पैदा करो। वर्दी, सरकारी दफ्तर का सेटअप, कानूनी धाराएं, वो आपको इतना डरा देंगे, फोन पर बातों बातों में आप सोच भी नहीं पाएंगे। और फिर उनका तीसरा दाव शुरू होता है। तीसरा दाव, समय का दबाव, अभी फैसला करना होगा वरना आपको गिरफ्तार करना पड़ेगा। ये लोग पीड़ित पर इतना मनोवैज्ञानिक दबाव बना देते हैं कि वो सहम जाता है।
And let's quickly, of course, get you some more details about this very serious incident, of course, of fraud that's happening in our country, that the Prime Minister has also warned countrymen today over. So let's tell you, of course, about how there has, of course, been a beginning in our country of this cybercrime epidemic. You can see over here the sheer increase in case and how rapidly it's happened from 2017 to, of course, 2023. Clearly, of course, you can see over there how in 2017 there were 3,466 cases which were reported. In 2018 it increased to 3,000, or rather in 2018 it actually decreased to 3,353. But then there was a doubling which happened from 2018 to 2019, increased to 6,229. Also, of course, went ahead to 10,395 cases in 2020. In 2021, 14,007 cases. Meanwhile, in 17,470 cases in 2022, and a huge spurt, of course, with 11,28,265 cases reported in the year 2023. That's a 6,358% spike in cases that were reported. So very, very shocking. Of course, you can see the rapid rise, how it has, of course, been happening. Let me quickly join our guests as well who are joining us to decode this big story. Ellen Rao, former DCP Special Delhi Police, also joins us live. We have Ajay Dua, former Secretary, Ministry of Industry and Commerce, live with us. Sanjay Sahai, former IPS officer, is live with us. Dr. Jayjeet Bhattacharya, President CDEPR, also joins us live. Let me begin with you first, Ellen Rao. This is a very serious matter that, of course, the Prime Minister has raised on his episode of Mann Ki Baat. You know, how serious is this new form of crime, and how important is it to alert security men, as the countrymen, to this crime, as the Prime Minister has done through his radio address today?
Yes, Udayji, it's a very important issue, and I congratulate your channel to increase the awareness among your viewers. It's very important because the PM, Honorable Prime Minister, is also having very great concern about this crime. This crime, cybercrime, which has no boundaries at all. A person sitting outside India, he can threaten everyone, he can extort money. This is the type of crime which can be stopped by the police only when the matters are reported, and awareness among the people is very important because so many people are to be very well aware that any unknown link should not be clicked. There should not be any conversation on any video which is not known to you, because there are so many cases reported that if you click any video and in the second time you will be found with a naked girl, and then that will start in the extortion and other so many extortion tactics are being shown by these criminals. Secondly, more important is nowadays is that they create a false police station, as also referred by Honorable Prime Minister, that they will create a terror among the mind of people that you are wanted by some narcotics case, or your daughter has been trapped in some case. And I must tell you through years that one of my friends once told me that I got a call from police station that my daughter has been detained in a police station. Because I knew that this may be a fake call by this type of criminals. I told him that you call your daughter, then you will find the reality. And he called his daughter, and the daughter was studying in the college at that time. So he was very, very happy, and then he was, otherwise he could have been threatened by these people. And that begins that the digital arrest scene is started at that time, because so many cases have been reported. And in one of the case of digital arrest, one woman died because of heart attack, because her daughter was involved in was allegedly involved in some racket. And these type of crime are increasing nowadays. And I must inform all the viewers through your channel that they should not be afraid of it, and they should definitely immediately report to the police. And police also must be readily available with the officers who are well aware of about the crime, and they are expert in the cyber crime investigation. Digital investigation is very important nowadays, and cyber tools which are required to investigate such type of cases. Most important is that the person, once they are arrested, they should not be allowed bail, and their gang, the entire gang, should be smashed by that time. And once the public is starting reporting to the police, then the investigation starts, and then after investigation, when all persons are arrested, then there will be a relief to the police as well as to the general public. So it's a very serious crime, and it should be reported immediately as soon as it is committed by such person to any innocent people in this India. More importantly, the people and the retiree people are also target of this crime. So they should also be well aware of this. Uday.
All right, Sanjay Sai, let me draw you in here. Very, very alarming, of course. In 1 year, over 6,000% increase in cases shows how this is becoming a very common crime now, an occurrence. How important is it then to raise awareness about it amongst our countrymen?
See, the number of 6,000% increase, I think that is emotional in nature. If you look around for people who have been affected by cybercrime, and some of them by digital arrest, I think it would be somewhere in the range of 60,000 or 6 lakhs, whatever the number might be. The reality is that nearly everybody is impacted today by some cybercrime or the other, and we are not ready to accept the fact that even physical crimes have a cyber element. So let's realize the fact when 98% of the transactions are digital in nature, we can expect that at least 98% of the crime have some digital element involved in whichever manner possible. With regards to the awareness part of it, I have been stating over and over again, I have been writing also that there needs to be a complete media blitzkrieg of awareness by which everybody is forced to know that we don't do digital arrest. And there is nothing called digital surveillance, and there is nothing called, as the Honorable Prime Minister said, a video call. No government agency makes a video call that there are no digital arrests as per the as per the law of the land. So all these things have to be made known. But there are a couple of other things which are equally important. How we have reached this state. So that is very, very important. Mr. Rao has been talking about using of digital tools and cracking of cases. But the reality is that we still don't know how many gangs are operating. The reality is also that how many people find it comfortable to go to the police and get this thing investigated. The Prime Minister also talked about the National Crime Coordination, Cyber Crime Coordination Center, which means the initiation of coordination is just about to start. So the capability of the state police to crack such cases is also not at a level which is desirable. As far as the digital arrest is concerned, why is it happening? Might be there is a fear of law or the fear of government agencies to such a level that people are ready to accept there is a CBI or a FedEx or something of that nature. It is better to oblige to them than go against them. I think somewhere this mindset is there. I'll give you two instances. One is one reporter of Aztak. I was going through her video where she's talking to some other reporters there in some YouTube conversation where she says she was literally hypnotized. So you are taken to a level where you are mentally broken. So that is one incident. The second incident is of a friend of mine who is a chief software architect in a private company who understands technology in and out. He got duped into the digital arrest and continued whatever he was asked to, and he lost 1.21 crores. My personal understanding is that we today need to make ourselves digitally more abreast with the tools which are required for this. Secondly, how many of these calls originate out of India? Can anybody tell me how many of the calls originate out of India? To the best of my understanding, large number of calls are originating out of India. And even with the phone numbers getting blocked, I think all of us are getting regular calls. What is the responsibility? One is the government part of it. Secondly, there are a couple of other agencies. I think FedEx is the most infamous out of the digital arrests which are happening in this country. And FedEx has never come out with any clarification, anything saying that these things, FedEx is not involved or things of that nature. The most important part is that the Indian population is completely unaware as to how the law enforcement and the investigative agencies operate. Large number of civilians, inclusive of very high IT professionals, they don't understand how the governance operates. And living in that ignorant sort of a stupor, they are the ideal people to be duped by these scamsters. Two, three instances are very important. So one is CEO of a private company who lost 7 crores. Unconnected to digital arrest, some ophthalmologist lost 9 crores in Hyderabad. And the worst of the issues are that a retired DG lost who had also worked in intelligence bureau and a retired IS officer also lost some money. So broadly, we are in a situation where we are enveloped by cybercrime, currently more so digital arrest. Of late, we have started taking action. I think much more effective is to be taken on this side, and it needs a much higher level of technical, digital capability to crack these cases. Once these cases are cracked, it should be made public. And there should be, once again, I repeat, a media blitzkrieg that there is nobody left in this country who does not know that there is nothing called digital arrest and 1930 or whatever is the number for complaining. And there is a National Cyber Coordination Center who will take help of me. Now, who will provide help to me? The last point, if I land in this issue, is there any real-time support? Whether it is National Cyber Coordination Center or 1930 helpline, can they provide me online support when I am right in that crisis, right in that issue?
All right, let me quickly take that across to Ajay Dua as well. Ajay Dua, now how concerning, according to you, is this new crime pattern for India? And what should now be the action plan to tackle it?
Uday, thank you for having me. Uday, I like to just take this matter a little back. Pardon my doing that. I think the technology which we are all trying to imbibe. The technologies which are being developed for, cyber technologies, let me broadly call them those. I think along with their invention and deployment must come ways and means before they are actually thrown open to the public at large with how to be able to prevent their misuse. First, the possible misuses which are possible of the technologies which are being put on public platforms, and then how should these technologies be checked. The package together should be put on the table when its marketing takes place, and let a conscious decision be made by the user whether he or she would like to make use of that technology. storing data in the cloud. Very easy to access, as we all know. So the risks when a person stores or agrees to store his or her data in the cloud, he should know what are the risks. Are they greater than when he says, no, I do not want to get into, cloud storage or any other form of kind. That's number one. Secondly, when in a country like India, we are going about and probably with very good intentions on digitization of the payment systems, DPI, trying to call about, the various other uses, public uses of the computerization age. Again, there we must also be ready with the ways and means of checking how the misuse takes place. How can the person, semi-literate, might be digitally literate, but otherwise, by and large, we are semi-literate more semi-literates in this country than literate, can be conned, and what he or she should be made aware of before we try and sell a particular method of payment or particular method of banking. We don't do that. I think we all get into a rat race of saying everything should be digitized, everything should be now put on the platform, which is only, what are we seeing? Which is giving incentives to people who want to make use of it, and the people who are making misuse of it or undertaking misuse, they're all very, very smart people who understand the technology, know the loopholes in it, and then are going about it. They may be individuals, they may be gangs, whatever it might be, but they are all smarter than the ones who are really using the data or who are making use of these facilities, the so-called modern facilities. So there is a onus, I would put it, on those encouraging utilization of such modes of communication, call it, such modes of banking, making payments, etc., to also put out in public domain possible misuses and what can be done if such a misuse, how will it manifest itself and how can it be checked. Now, finally, on this subject, e-commerce, whether it's in India, Amazon, Flipkart, or all the other, because so much of these e-commerce has taken off so much that there is today a widespread misuse of the facility of, you are very keen, you have placed an order on an e-commerce company. You get a call saying your delivery is going to be taking place in such and such time. He or she asks you for certain information. You unwittingly or otherwise part with that information. So my point, or the point I'm making is that why it has become so rampant, to the extent that the Prime Minister of the country has to talk about it, which he did this morning. And what did he say? It has become abundant. And the caution has come from the highest level of government today. And what did the Prime Minister say? Be careful. The moment you suspect something is happening, do three things. First, stop, think, and then take action. All three together, which means if it has happened, you must reach the final stage and take action. And the action would be report it. If you can't stop taking a picture of it or others, you must, the ultimate thing is report it to the investigation agencies, which would be the police mainly. Now the police, people will start reporting, including literate ones, if the past reports or complaints lodged with the police actually yield results. And this gets publicly known. But instead, what is a general impression? You lodge a report with the police, nothing happens. It takes a very long time for some action to be taken, and we are not kept in the know. So people don't act because they are not getting enthusiastic about even going through the whole hog. That's why the examples which are given, saying Director General Police themselves, he or she was also duped. Retired officers are getting duped. Well, well-known businessmen have got
Yes.
duped. The fact of the matter is,
Yes.
it is becoming a serious matter in India.
Absolutely, it certainly is. Let me get in Dr. Jaydeep Bhattacharya for his take as well. Dr. Bhattacharya, how concerning is this, pattern of crime becoming? Is this perhaps one of the, fastest evolving crimes in India today? What should now be the action plan then to tackle it? Of course, awareness is needed, but also tackling it is going to be another challenge, isn't it?
Clearly it is a epidemic. If you look at the RBI data in terms of value, it has gone up 5 times since last year. So if you look at March 23 versus March 24, it's 5 times higher. As a founder of a fintech where we had more than 250,000 merchants, we have been living in fraud day in and day out. And all I can do is amplify what Mr. Sahaya said. He captured most of the issues, most of the solutions. And, the core of it is essentially that there are multiple stakeholders. All of them need to work together. We already discussed the fact that even if you call up 1930, there is no action that happens. So typically, when we sit in a panel discussion, the view in the back of the mind is that, oh, these are fools who got trapped. We will not get trapped. Trust me, each one of us sitting here can get trapped because the way in which these frauds operate, and we have typically seen 60-year-old women getting trapped with all kinds of frauds happening, not just digital arrest. And multiple times we have suggested that there needs to be a middleware, a solution which connects entities like the I4C under Ministry of Home Affairs, the Department of Financial Systems under Ministry of Finance, NPCI, RBI, the fintech organizations, the financial organizations. Let me take one example. If a credit card fraud happens on your card, and if you call up the bank immediately, there are many banks which say, oh, sorry, you entered the OTP, so it is done. We can't do much. Why can't you do much? The settlement happens on a T+1 basis, which is the next day. So banks needs to be heavily penalized if they're not taking step when the victim is calling up. On top of it, the money goes digitally, which means it goes to another bank account. That bank account was opened up with proper KYC. Now, why hasn't the bank done a proper due diligence and a proper KYC? If they had done a proper KYC, there must be a person on the other side who can be caught hold of. If that is not happening, it's a lacuna of the bank. So we see there's lacunas of the bank, the financial entities, intermediaries involved. Also, the moment a call comes to any one, there are 4 of us who seem to be knowing a little bit more about fraud than others. If a call comes to us, most of the time we know it's a fraud. Then what do? We disconnect it, or we have a conversation. We try to prove to the other person that they're doing a fraud, and we disconnect it. There is no mechanism for us to report back that this number is a fraud number. And if 20 or 100 people report it to be a fraud, please stop that number immediately. So the telecom company should be involved. And this is the middleware which is easily possible to be made. This DPI, whatever you call it, a digital infrastructure that can be created, which then takes information from the citizens, communicates it to the financial organizations, communicates it to the telecom organizations, so that the envelopes get squeezed. You can still not remove fraud. We always have fraud, but then we are able to get all these institutions together and be able to reduce the number of frauds that happens. And that needs to be done on an urgent basis. We keep discussing it, but I don't really see steps being taken. There is a I4C under Minister of Home Affairs created. Its allocation of business rules is different from catching fraud. And therefore, these changes needs to be brought in. These are institutional changes that needs to be brought in. We are the pioneers in creating digital infrastructure. We are the ones who should be solving it. We have created a payment infrastructure which is 95% there. Because the last 5% is not there, the frauds are still happening at a massive scale. We need to act extremely fast to solve this issue.
Absolutely. We certainly do. Okay, let me give the last word to you, Ellen Rao, before we close.
is prevention is better than cure. All people should be aware about the cyber modus operandi of the cyber criminals. And if something happens, then there is a portal on MHA, cybercrime.go.in. That matter should be reported immediately to that on that portal, so that the money which has been transferred in some other account, that can be freeze within, if it is done within 24 hours or before that, that can be done, and then freeze amount can be restored to the aggrieved person or complainant. So we need to be alert, because the cyber criminals are more serious about it and more ahead of what we are having. And another thing very important is that this investigation, a part of this cyber crime, must be expedited, and more intelligent officers and having very good knowledge about to cracking the cases of cyber crime. They must be recruited, and they posted in the police stations. And in Delhi, we have one cyber crime police station in each district of Delhi. But system should be everywhere in country, so that that there can be a check on the cyber crime. And then once these cyber criminals are arrested, and then most important, that the action should be taken by the police. There are complaints that the police is reluctant to take action on these complaints. That is a very true complaint of the aggrieved persons. Then the senior officers must take a note of it, that cyber crime complaints must be looked into on an expeditious basis, and the intelligent officers should be deployed to investigate those things, and so that we have lay hand on the criminals as soon as possible. And remedial measures should also be adopted by that. The most important that remedy is that the preventive measures, which have been told to the public time and again, that they should be aware of what type of modus operandi, because the criminals are getting ahead. They are one step ahead, because they don't have anything to do. They just thinking new methods of doing such type of crime. So even that part should be taken care by the police and the investigating agencies.
All right. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this discussion. It's time for a very short break.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.